Hey everybody, so today I'm going to show you how I completed my Ana from Hopeful Creations. Pablo and I did a trade, so the first thing I had to actually do was print the doll, but once she was printed, I sanded her, and we're going to jump right into the face up. So for a majority of the blushing, I actually had to mix my own color because I don't have a ton of pan pastel colors, so here I am just like taking the dust of a few of the different shades in order to create like a blush that works really well on the skin tone that I printed. So I used a purple, a pink, and then I also used a magenta and mixed them together, and that's what I'm going to be using for the majority of Ana's blushing. So I start with the lips. I know that that's not where most people start, but I just like to get the color on there right away, and I like the lips to be natural but also still kind of dark, so I do a lot of layers on the lips. And I use the same color that I'm using for most of her blushing, but then later on I'm going to darken it up. And then I clean off the edges or the extra chalk dust with a kneaded eraser. Those are super useful. Highly recommend getting a kneaded eraser. Here I'm adding some shading to the eye creases. She has some really nice prominent eye creases already in the sculpting, so I'm just going along with the sculpt. I love the way that the face is, so I'm not trying to change the face shape in any way. And then I'm just dabbing it with a kneaded eraser so that, again, if there's any excess dust in areas that I don't want there to be color, I can get rid of it. Here I'm adding the undertones of blue. I actually got this idea from Jackie O. I've been doing this for a while, back when I was doing face-ups on fashion dolls. But just blending it out, giving it sort of like an undertone of there being like blood underneath her skin. That sounds creepy, but I promise it makes sense in the long run. And then adding some pink to her cheeks. And I also like to blush ears. I know it kind of makes her look cold, but she's sort of supposed to be like a cold doll anyway. I made her outfit with the intent of it being like a cozy, wintry outfit, since it's very cold right now where I am. I'll probably change her in the summertime. I'm adding some color to her inner eye corners, just like the pink where sort of the tear duct is and the waterline. And then I'm going to detail that later on with pencils. So right now it's just putting on sort of like base colors before I do her spray of Mr. Super Clear to seal this layer up. Sorry about the terrible framing. I'm not used to filming yet, but I'm just shading and adding some like colors and shadows to her ear. I think it really makes the sculpting pop and like look super cute. And then I'm adding some shadows to her mouth corners just to make her smile more prominent. In a natural face, like we have those shadows, so I want to make sure to add them in. Same with in her nostrils. It seems a little bit weird and like very prominent now, but when she's finished, you can hardly tell, and it just adds to the realism of the face. Here's just adding more details into the waterline and the little eye crease. Because she has inset eyes like most BJDs, I'm still getting used to it, and so a lot of the detail is going into sort of the waterline and the eyes around where the actual like eyeball is, where I'm used to drawing the eyes in. And this way I can pay more attention to that. I want her to look pretty natural, not too much makeup. I do give her eyeliner later on, so I'm trying to keep it rather simple at this point. I'm taking my Pearl X powder to just give her some shimmer and to sort of act like a highlighter. I like to add it to the cheeks and sometimes to the nose. I also like putting it on the ears. I think it makes them look really cute. And sometimes when I am painting a doll that has pointy ears, I'll even gloss it to make it extra shiny, just because I feel like it looks very magical. So this is the first layer. Oh, that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. Here I'm just darkening the lips again, still using that same color of blush, but adding multiple layers so that it's darker and really like matches her skin tone. And then I'm making it extra dark around the inside of her mouth to create more dimension and depth to it. Outlining the edges of her nose too, and just adding more details to the creases of the eyes. All these little tiny things, like you can't really see them right now, but when she's all put together, it makes a difference than if she were to not have them. It seems like small things, but it's the tiny details that I really love to focus on. I'm going to be completely honest here. I am horrible at lower lashes. No matter how hard I try, they're always so chunky and clunky looking. So I like to blend them out a little bit with some black or brown pastel, just so that it's not so harsh and you can't really see how bad they are. So the way that I like to do the eyebrows is first like to just basically put down a base of how long I want them to be with the pastel, and then I shape it with the kneaded eraser because I am not great at drawing on eyebrows, and I feel like it's a lot easier for me to take away than it is for me to add on. And then I do the same thing on the other side. Before I add on any of the hairs, I seal it so that I have this base shape underneath that I can work off of. And I usually use a pretty light color, that way it doesn't interrupt when I'm adding on the hairs or the other details. But yeah, that's how I like to do my eyebrows. I'm starting to do the eyeliner, and I like to start from the inside of the eye and work my way out. I do a really thin line at first, even though I like to go back and make it thicker. This way I can control it because it's very easy to make the lines too thick. And even though I'm using a pencil and it looks okay here, in person, the lines are really like sketchy. So I go back over it by wetting my pencil. These are watercolor pencils. So I wet the pencil with a brush and then I brush it on just to like clean those lines up. But before I do that, I go in just with the pencil. That way I can make sure that they're straight and they're as symmetrical as possible. They're never going to be the exact same, but as symmetrical as possible. I have to go through and just clean things up. I made a little smudge there, so and then I also want to make sure every side is symmetrical. So I might have to go in, add some here, take some out, because it's really easy for them to just become a little bit off. And then I'm basically like building up all the colors that I've already have before. And her face up is finished, technically. Now it's time to sort of put on the lashes, gloss, do the finishing details. This is how I measure the lashes. Some people use human lashes, and sometimes I do too when I'm going for more of like a glam look. But for Ana, I just use these doll lashes that I got off of AliExpress. I cut them down to size, and then I get the glue ready. I like to put the glue on with a needle instead of a brush because it gives me a lot more control. And then I also add a bit of glue to the base of the lash and let them dry a tiny bit to get tacky. It just makes it a lot easier to put this on. Don't get me wrong, it is still hard. Putting on lashes is the absolute worst part of doing a face up, but it just makes such a difference to me, and I love the look of the lashes on the doll. So to me, it's worth it. Sometimes it's not, but for Ana, I felt like it was worth it. You can see I do my lashes in sections, so I glue part of it, wait for it to dry, glue the next part of it. This way I can really control where they sit, and I'm not covering up too much of the waterline that I spent so long making. Here's some magic for you. We have one lash beautifully done, and woo, now she has two lashes. Gorgeous. I trimmed the lashes off camera just because it's very tedious and I have to hold it all pretty close to my face. So here's how they look all trimmed. I think they turned out really great. I love her giant, beautiful eyes. She's just so cute. I also added the lines to her eyebrows. I think I forgot to film that part too. So she has some eyebrow hairs. And now it's time for gloss. I'm glossing up her lips, and then I'm also going to gloss up her waterline, just because those are the areas of our face that are glossy and are supposed to look a little bit wet. I also want her lips to kind of look like maybe she's wearing a clear lip gloss. And then I added some earrings to her. I was too scared to like drill through and like try to get some actual earrings in there. So I just glued them on with tacky glue. That way they'd be pretty easy to remove. And then I'm showing this because it takes a lot of layers to get it really glossy, even when using like a super glossy varnish, in order for it to look like really, really glossy. And then I'm going to add in her teeth. I chose to do the tooth option with it has a little tooth gap. It's really subtle, but I feel like it's super cute and adds a lot of personality to the doll. I made her some eyes off camera, and let's do a little bit of magic. If only it was that easy to put in eyes. So here is her face all finished. And now I'm going to show you all of the things that I made for her to wear. This is a top that I crocheted. And then I also have a pair of jeans that I made with little hearts on the bottom. And then I have a jacket because it is rainy and cold outside. And a little scarf that I crocheted. This was sort of a last minute project that I did while I was waiting for her to dry. And I can't make shoes, so these are from AliExpress. For her bag, I have a Mini Brands Fashion. I cut off the original strap and added a chain just to make it longer to fit her. And just a little charm because it's cute, so why not? And the last thing I have here is the jewelry I made for her. I made a little charm bracelet and a necklace. So here we're getting dressed. This is her top. It has just a little hook in the back to make it easy to put on. And then for her jeans, they have a front closure, so a Velcro flap, and then a little snap button. Her jeans were a little bit difficult because of how curvy this doll is, but it was really fun to make clothes to like fit it perfectly to her, and I saved the pattern. And then her shoes just like pop right on with the elastic laces that I switched them out for, so that's really nice. And then I put on her necklace and some of her bracelets. Next is her jacket. She's starting to look really well put together, and I'm getting very excited. And then I'm going to add on the rest of her jewelry. And then I put on her hands to keep the bracelets from falling off. And then her bag is hooked on. Let's see her head. Oh, here she is. She is looking so cute. The last step is her head cap and her wig. I already made her wig and I attached it to her head cap when I was trying her on, so I just left it on there so I don't have to fiddle with it. It's a French braid, and I made it from a viscose fiber. So here she is, all put together. And let's see the final look. I am very excited. Look at her, Ana! I am so happy with this doll and how she turned out. Thank you so much to Pablo from Hopeful Creations for doing this trade and suggesting it. I would have been brave enough to ask, even though I really wanted to. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and thank you to everybody who decided to watch the video. I hope you love her as much as I do. Have a great day.